Hello and welcome. Okay, here we go. This is kind of like a bit of an offshoot series I'll be doing. Have a look out on the descriptions and the titles, okay? Because I will be titling them part 1, part 2, and all the rest of it. Okay, this is going to be a mini series I'm doing of cheap versus pricey knives and what you get for your money, and the pros and cons and things like that. Okay, now when I say pricey, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be comparing a Spyderco Enduro with a Rockstead knife. Okay, when I mean pricey, I don't mean £4,000. I do mean 3, 4, 5 times the amount of the knife that I'm talking about. Okay, and comparing them, okay, and looking at their features and kind of helping you decide if it's really worth spending a little bit more money, or well, 3 or 4 times more money, or just settling for a cheaper version and making do and learning your edges and all the rest of it. Okay, hope you enjoy it. If you don't, if you're just here for a review and things, I apologise, switch over, do what you want, but this is just going to be like a pricey versus cheap kind of video. Okay, the 2 knives I've got with me today then, I've got a Gerber DMF Tanto folder. When I bought it, it was about £20 odd or £18. Now they bumped the price up a little bit and they're about £37, so they have gone up a fair bit. And the second knife I've got with me is the Cold Steel Recon 1 Tanto. Okay, and this one, when I bought it, was about £80 and it's now about £90. So, or a bit more than that. So in a way, this at the start, this was about the Recon 1 was about 4 times the price, probably more than the Gerber. Okay, so here are the knives. All right, as you can see, very similar. They both have the G10. Okay, the Cold Steel, just straight from the go, a lot more grippy. Okay, and I think Gerber have caught onto that because they have this extra bit of gnarling or texturing, as you can see, that chips into the G10. It's not that grippy, but it's workable. Okay, it's fine. All right. So they're the handle scales. The Cold Steel, much more grippy, but that can be a downside. Okay, because I've said before, if you watch the review, it will cut your pockets. Okay, and the Gerber just won't. Okay, now speaking of cutting pockets, let's have a look at the pocket clips. The Gerber pocket clip, you've got a lot, just a huge longer pocket clip than the Cold Steel, and it does say Gerber in big letters. Do you want that sticking out of your trousers or pants? Do you? You got to ask yourself that. A lot of people know. Well, Gerber are quite a well-known brand, and you're basically advertising the fact that you've got a large folding knife in your pocket. Yeah, by all means, you can sand that off, Sharpie, whatever. But I'm just saying, straight from purchasing one. Now the Cold Steel one is a yes, it does have Cold Steel on there, but it's engraved in a way. Okay, it's indented. So a little bit more stealthy approach. Okay, it's also deeper pocket carry, only just, but it is deeper. But yeah, they're the pocket clips and what you get. Okay, with the Gerber, you get this huge lanyard hole. Okay, the Recon 1, you get this small little hole. You wouldn't be able to put 550 through that. I'm sure of it. Okay, so let's look at the construction. Okay, the torque screws on the Cold Steel. You've got a pivot screw. You've got two kind of support pins there. You've got a couple of torque screws there and 3 for the pocket clip. With the Gerber, you've got the pivot screw. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 torques, and then for the pocket clip, you've got the 2. Okay, so that's the construction. Thickness. width. Recon is a thinner profile, okay, and that is because mainly, in my opinion, it's because of the liners. The Cold Steel does, remember, the Cold Steel does not have, sorry about the large click, it's just a locking mechanism. Cold Steel does not have any liners, okay, whereas the Gerber does. Now, they are milled out or skeletonized, okay, as you can see, just slightly in there. They are milled out, but even saying that, it's a heavy knife, okay. It is a heavy knife, okay. I will need to just go back on my notes and just see just how heavy this knife is, because it's a fair amount. But obviously I've just done a review for the Recon one, so I can say that that's about 149 grams, okay. But yeah, the Gerber one, should have had this at the start really, but yeah, I'm not going to get, there we go. Yeah, 175 grams, okay, so sorry about that, thank you for waiting. So yeah, the Gerber is undoubtedly heavier, so 5 ounces versus 6 ounces, okay, and look at the size difference, okay. The blade length, it is a longer blade, much longer, it's thicker, okay, and the overall length is longer as well, okay. Features wise, I mean the locking mechanism for the Cold Steel is very strong. It's their triad lock, okay, very strong lock, no movement, well he says, and then there's a little side to side, but not really any movement, okay, on that one. On this, there's a little bit of movement, okay, and I'm not really sure what locking mechanism they have for this, okay. I mean, it's kind of similar to their steel, okay. I mean, it is a manual opening. They call it a wedge lock, okay. It's an ambidextrous blade release. All it means by ambidextrous blade release is you can't really close it with one hand, okay, which is a downside in my opinion, because you have to pull with one hand and then close it with the other, or an object or something. I wouldn't class that as one-handed closing though if you have to use an object, okay. So you can't pull down on one on either side, but then again on the Recon one it's the same kind of, you can open it one-handed much like the Gerber, but closing it is more of a two-handed operation, so in that case they both kind of equal out. Alright, as you can see, the pommel of the Cold Steel is hard, and but on the Gerber you actually have this extra bit of steel, okay, for glass breaking and whatnot, okay. Striking, they say for defense or egress, okay, but there we go. Now the handle scales, ergonomics, the Cold Steel is definitely more comfortable, but saying that, the Gerber is quite comfortable also, okay. Look at the cutouts. Very similar. Very similar. The thing is, you've actually got better jimping, in my opinion, on the Gerber there, okay, and you've also got this added pinky jimping on the butt end, okay. Not so much on the Cold Steel, okay. Now the blade, obviously the blade, they do use their Gerber mystery steel. It's just high carbon steel, okay. But with the Recon, you know for a fact that is Japanese OS A steel, okay. So it would beat it just hands down on the steel, okay. Sharpness out of the box, yeah, the Cold Steel wins. I mean, this Gerber, I don't think this could cut a piece of paper, really. It came so blunt, it was just, and sometimes Gerbers for me are hit and miss with sharpening. Sometimes I can sharpen them well, and other times I just can't, okay. A poor feature of this Gerber is look at that huge amount. You could almost fit your finger in there. I don't think you're supposed to fit your finger on there because there's just not enough of a stop there or over travel there for your finger to just accidentally go over the top to the business end, okay, whereas the Cold Steel, it does make use of most of that length, okay, and it even has a little cutout there, which is excellent feature. I wish every knife had that for sharpening. Okay, so I've rambled on a fair bit, okay, but really it just seems to me that this Gerber, although it's made in China and although this Cold Steel's made in Taiwan, okay, it just seems to me that the Gerber it just looks like it has more production steps on it rather than the Cold Steel. Okay, the Cold Steel is quite minimalistic. You've got your G10 handle scales, you've got your triad lock, you've got your blade steel, you've got your coating, your thumb studs, pocket clip, and all your pins and your screws. Done. Your Gerber, you've got your blade steel, you've got your serrations, you've got your thumb studs again, you've got this wedge lock, you've got all your pivot screws, but then you've got all the jimping as well. You've got the back spacer, you've got your pocket clip, like I say, this huge hole, the pommel. It just seems to me like there's more stages in this. Please write in the comments section if I'm wrong, okay, but what that I would have thought added to the cost, but obviously not, okay. Okay, so what are you getting with your money? Well, for £20 you're getting an okay knife, okay, with not amazing blade steel, and you will need to sharpen it often, but it does the job, okay. It's got an okay blade shape, except for the choil area, and it is heavy, okay. Is the Cold Steel worth it? Is an £80–90 knife worth more than a £20 knife? Well, in my opinion, it is in this case, okay. I'd happily pay 3 or 4 times more for say this knife than this knife, okay. Reasons being, much better steel, you know what it is, better G10, it's lighter and larger, a much better lock mechanism, okay, and you have to pay a price for all those features, but they should be features that should be present in most knives, okay. And I'll go on to this as my series you know, takes some speed, takes some traction, okay. But in this case it is worth it. It's worth saving up you know, a bit more. If you saved, obviously your mileage may vary and everybody's on a budget, but if it takes you 3 or 4 months for this rather than a month for this, it's worth waiting. Believe me, it's worth waiting, okay. So in this case it's definitely worth the extra money to go that little bit further and get a much improved model, okay. Saying that, if you're on a very strict budget and you're only going to buy one knife and you don't mind sharpening it and going and spending your time, remember, time is money, okay. How many minutes, hours are you going to spend sharpening this, and do those minutes and hours convert into dollars, pounds? You've got to ask yourself that question as well. If it breaks, you've then lost the cost of the knife as well. Put all of those factors into the equation for what's good value for money, okay. But in this case it's worth saving up, and yeah, the Cold Steel Recon 1 easily outdoes this Gerber DMF, okay. Thanks very much for watching, take care, stay tuned for episode 2. It may well be a Spyderco. Take care.